Hello, my friend. Welcome back to What's Up in Makeup. Just a heads up, it's gonna be a little different this week because the show is so long, because I decided to take a vacation on a busy news week. We're breaking this up into two pieces. You are currently watching the top news segment where we are going to be talking about Kylie Jenner and her going into her makeup lab without any hairnet or gloves or anything, but it is much more complicated than that. Then we'll go into the first big judgment from the judge in the case of Hailey Bieber's Rhode Skin versus Rhode Fashion. And the other story I wanted to mention in the intro was the one that I was tagged in so many times because y'all know I was gonna be so amused by this. Winky Lux and Applebee's. They have made wing-scented lip glosses. And so much more. So hang tight, we're getting into it right now. Before I get into top news, just so you know, I am going to link the product report and everything else. It all still exists this week. I'm gonna put it in a card right here. It's also gonna be in the very top of the description box. The show is just so long this week. I wanted to break it up into two pieces, but it's still all of the things you know and love about What's Up in Makeup. So with that being said, let's get into what happened with Kylie Jenner. And I feel like in our community, people either really like her or really dislike her. So I'm very curious to see what you think about this. I got into a conversation about this on Twitter because I was really confused by it. Let me show you the video. This is the video that Kylie put up of her visiting her lab in Italy. And as you can see, her hair is very long. She's right next to products. She has no gloves on. She's touching products. And as someone that is very big into ingredients and formulation, I have my own food company. I am it grossed me out. Let me just say, that was my initial reaction, was like, oh my gosh, look at that long hair just going all around the product. And then I noticed on Trend Mood's post about Kylie going to her lab that a lot of people felt the same way as I did, that this was just not okay for her to be in the lab like this. Why would a lab allow her to do that? And then the more I dug through this, I found out that Selena Gomez last month did the exact same thing. It almost looks like it's the same lab in Italy. I can't verify that. I don't know that, but it seems to look very similar to the lab that Kylie was in. It's like, what kind of lab are these people using? When I tweeted about Kylie, maybe it was the time of day, who knows, but I didn't really get a lot of comments. I definitely didn't get anybody defending her actions in any way. But when I tweeted about Selena, it was like immediate. The things like, basically like, it's not a real lab, why you make a big deal about this, stuff like that. Now, I am a pretty big fan of Selena Gomez as a person. I love the way she presents herself. I love the way that she has shown herself to be at events for rare beauty. I mean, she just seems like a lovely human being. So neither of these things were targeted to them as a person, but I just found it fascinating that people were so quick to defend Selena, maybe because it was a little later in the day, I don't know, and just completely, didn't say anything about Kylie. One of the most interesting responses that I got on the post that I made about Kylie was from Cole from Cole's World. He's been doing makeup on YouTube and Instagram for a very long time. He said that every lab he'd been to in Los Angeles had kind of a staging area where you would go in and you would kind of look like you were messing with your products, but you weren't really. That was the impression that I was given. He said, quote, "I don't think it's manipulative. I think it's so brand owners can make their own products and test their own shades without being in mass production. And I do think he has a point there, but then I was thinking like, but if you're gonna say you're in your lab, like testing products, why not be in the actual lab? Why fake being in a fake lab? Like just didn't make sense to me. It wasn't clicking. Another one of my followers, her name is Mimi, talked about her experience in the pharmaceutical area. And what she said was that the celebrities were probably in some kind of quality control center or some kind of research and development area, a place where they were making products, but not for actual sale. Maybe it's a place where they develop shades and things like that. Now that made sense to me. I kind of feel like even if they're staging it, that the whole goal is to show people the manufacturing process. And if you're being clean when you're manufacturing, shouldn't you stage it to look clean? I don't know. I wanted to mention it in What's Up in Makeup because I'd love to know your thoughts about this. The first one is just the discrepancy between the responses when Kylie did something versus when Selena did something, and how it seemed like people were really defending Selena but never kind of left Kylie to the wolves. And then the second one is just, do you think this is a weird practice to say you're going into your lab but then not really being in the real lab where they're making real products for customers? Do you think that's something that they should kind of allude to, that this is a research and development area? Because I know under Selena's post, people were really excited and saying, oh, how amazing would it be if Selena was making my foundation? When it doesn't seem like that could have been possible. I think there's definitely some confusion there. Do you feel like that they owe their customers more transparency, or do you feel like this is just a non-issue? I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments. I told y'all I would keep you posted on this story, and there has been a development. So here's the background. Hailey Rhode Bieber launched Rhode Skincare not that long ago. She was promptly sued by a company called Rhode, spelled the same way, but a fashion brand. I'll link that episode of What's Up in Makeup down below if you want to hear the whole backstory of everything. So this has now gone to court, and essentially Rhode Fashion wanted Hailey to stop selling all products while they worked out the trademark issues. This past week, the judge in the case sided with Hailey Rhode Bieber and decided that she does not have to stop selling Rhode skincare products while the lawsuit is going on. This is a huge loss for Rhode Fashion because they essentially are saying that Rhode Beauty is swamping the internet with searches and it's burying their business because she is a celebrity that is, very searchable and very popular, and their brand is getting buried and it's hurting their business. They also mentioned that there is a documentary coming up called The Making of Rhode, which is going to bury their fashion line even further. The judge admitted that the similarity of the marks was there, but that the brands weren't competitive enough to stop Hailey from marketing her skincare under the name while the details of the case play out. But this doesn't mean that Rhode Beauty is going to win the whole thing. That will be another day when we find that out. The company Billion Dollar Brows is known for their brow products, obviously. So when Rhode Fields came out with a brow product with a similar name to one of theirs, they had a trademark issue. The Rhode Fields product is called Brow Defining Boost, and their trademark is for just Brow Boost. But this was not an ordinary lawsuit. This was a lawsuit against Rhode Fields, but they also filed a lawsuit against the model that did sponsored posts for Rhode Fields for the products. Her name is Molly Sims. She is a model and an actress. So Billion Dollar Brands, the owner company, it's called Petunia Products, accused Molly of, quote, engaging in trademark infringement for promoting the allegedly infringing product. So according to the court ruling back in 2021, Sims' blog post was a paid advertisement, thereby crossing the line from protected consumer commentary to commercial use. But just this past week on July 28th, the judge formally closed the case due to all parties agreeing that the final outcome had been reached, but the terms of the settlement were not disclosed. This leaves a huge question in the influencer space because we don't know what happened with Molly Sims and Billion Dollar Brows. Did she have to pay them money? Did she have to pay them damages? Or did she not have to pay anything? Did they decide that she wasn't liable for it? But it does put us in a weird position. If we are paid to promote a product that then has a legal issue, maybe it's trademark, maybe it was a contaminated product or something and we sold it, are we liable for that? So the article kind of goes on to say that influencers who do this really should make sure in their contracts that there is some kind of legal protection in case there's something against the brand to protect the influencer from litigation. So I wanted to put this out there because that is scary, because as an influencer, you don't really know what's happening all the time behind the scenes of the brand because you're not that involved in the brand. All you know is what's available publicly. And if you can't find the information because it's inside information from the brand, that's super dangerous. Class action lawsuit against Beekman 1802. We talked about this a while ago, where Beekman 1802 was accused of using probiotic marketing for their skincare, knowing that there was no probiotics live in the skincare, and they felt that it was misleading to customers. They also said that the preservatives used by the company would render any probiotics in the products inert and therefore useless. The suit claimed that Beekman 1802 knew that the products did not contain live probiotics, yet they chose to represent it that way anyway because, quote, they did not believe their customers would know the difference, or because the removal of the word probiotics from the labels would make people less likely to purchase it. Our concern at the time when we talked about this in What's Up in Makeup was that probiotic skincare is freaking everywhere, man. You search for it, you find it at Sephora, you find it at Ulta. Products by brands like Biossance and Korres had the same preservative systems or very similar preservative systems as the one that was being sued. So what would that mean for these other brands that were selling similar products? Well, we have an update. The plaintiffs have voluntarily dismissed this case. A notice filed with the court stated that the plaintiffs' claims were dismissed without prejudice, which means that they can bring it up later if they want to. We don't know if Beekman 1802 paid the people off or, what happened behind the scenes. There's no public information as far as how this was settled, why it was settled, or why the people decided to just pull out. The plaintiffs just decided to pull out of it. Maybe the judge said that there wasn't a case there, and that's why they pulled out. We just don't know. But it looks like probiotic skincare is safe for now. We've been following the story very closely. Revlon filing for bankruptcy protection. It was a big story. We have another development there, and it looks pretty good for Revlon. They are fighting to stay alive after filing for bankruptcy protection back in June. And it's because they have bills due in the amount of $3.3 billion. There was a little hope a few weeks ago because investors decided that they were going to buy shares in the brand. It bumped up the cost of the stock quite a bit because it had hit an all-time low for Revlon. People were saying that that was a risky move for people to invest in a company that had already declared bankruptcy, but there even is more hope now. Revlon received a $1.4 billion bankruptcy loan that was approved on August 1st. Official creditors of the committee said that this was a terrible idea. In a court filing, they called it, quote, a mess. The company wrote, quote, no one knows today what Revlon is worth. But because of this investment, stocks for the company rose up to $9.59 per share. This is compared to their low of $1.17 per share. That is a huge difference. So the question is, at this point, there are a lot of people showing that they believe in Revlon, but will Revlon be able to come through? Will they be able to get the sales to pay back the other $1 billion that they have just taken out in loans? $1.4 billion. Honestly, I think we're going to know a lot more after the holiday season of 2022. I think that's going to be really important for them. I can't imagine working for that company right now and having all that pressure on for holiday of 2022, because essentially if that goes bad, if they don't have high sales for the holiday season, they're going to be in some serious trouble. But if they do, it could save the company. Last we heard about Tom Ford was that they were working with Goldman Sachs to find a valuation of the company, and not just the beauty segment, but also like the fragrances and the fashion and the whole shebang, the whole Tom Ford brand. They were working on a value for it. News outlets speculated they were preparing for sale, but we didn't know that for sure We do know that someone is interested, and it is Estee Lauder Brands. They are interested in purchasing the company. It would be about a $3 billion deal, which is the biggest deal that Estee Lauder has ever done. The last biggest deal they did was for Too Faced. Personally, I feel like this is a better investment if they end up getting in there, but there are some complications here that might make it tricky for Estee Lauder. The biggest one being that they don't really do fashion, so they would probably have to outsource the fashion segment to a company that knows what they're doing with such a huge brand. Now, they do have a long-term licensing agreement with Tom Ford Beauty and Fragrance. So they've been doing the beauty and fragrance thing for Tom Ford for a really long time. It's the fashion piece that is kind of the sticking point here because it's just not what they usually do. I did read that it's possible the insiders have heard that there are other companies looking to buy Tom Ford, so I'll keep my eye on it. If I see anything new, I'll let you know. Glossier has had a tough run. They have had a tough run over the past couple of years. The pandemic did not do well for them. They ended up laying off, I think it was like 80 employees, which was a third of their workforce. Like, they have just really been struggling. But there is a new CEO who is breathing new life into the brand, and they are doing a huge pivot. Glossier has been known for doing mostly online sales. It's kind of an influencer-y kind of brand. It's an Instagram brand, but they're pivoting from that. They're actually now going to be sold in Sephora stores. So because they're doing this big pivot, they did another firing or letting go, however we want to say it. People don't work there anymore, of about 20 positions. But what they did do was they hired about 20 new positions to really focus on the push into retail spaces. They also have 2 new retail stores opening in Brooklyn, New York and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's sometime between fall 2022 and early 2023. There's also an additional store possibly opening in Washington, D.C. In a statement, Sephora EVP and Global Chief Merchandising Officer Artemis Patrick said that Glossier is among the top searched brands on Sephora.com for brands that are not currently stocked there, and searches spiked up 200% within the past year. So Glossier is going to be sold at Sephora in both the US, in Canada, in stores, online, on the app, all of that. I wish them luck. I wish them well. I hope that this is a great pivot for them. I hope it brings the brand back. And then finally, this apparently is where we are now. April Fool's Day has become a reality. Not that long ago, we had Velveeta cheese scented nail polish, and now we have chicken wing scented lip glosses. I mean, it's different. We can definitely give them credit for that. So Winky Lux partnered with Applebee's for these 4 wing scented lip gloss. And I was very surprised by this because when I think of Winky Lux, I don't think Applebee's. I mean, Applebee's is a lovely place, but I wouldn't say that they're luxe. And Winky Lux really puts that bouge into their products. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have the lipstick that has like the flower in it. They have the beautiful flower shaped cheek products. And it's like, I don't put that with Applebee's. You know, it's just weird. I would think that a product like this would be like Glam Light or Hip Dot. You know, they do these kinds of collabs. Or even a place like Elf Cosmetics. I can see them doing that. Or maybe even NYX might go into something like this. But it's like, Winky Lux seems like a weird brand to pair with Applebee's. But I digress. The product is called the Saucy Gloss Collection. There are 4 lip glosses inspired by Applebee's wing sauces called Get Me Hot Buffalo, Sweet Chili Kiss, Be My Honey Pepper, and Honey BBQ Tea. I mean, the names are really cute. I do think it's a strange pairing for these 2 brands. I mean, I think even the biggest Applebee's fan would never put Applebee's in a luxe category. It's weird. But the big question is though, are you interested in buying these? Did you buy these? I think I might pass on them, even though I'm very intrigued. They're kind of pricey. Like, for the price of an Applebee's meal, you can get like 1 of these. It's like, you can take your whole family to Applebee's for the cost of 4 of these glosses. It's an odd choice. And that, my friend, was top news for What's Up in Makeup this week. I hope you enjoyed the top news segment of our show. If you would like to hear about all the products that came out this week, we have our artist shout out of the week. We have all of our sales. All of that is going to be in a second video. Again, it is linked in the top of the video description, so you can just click right away and go over there. Thank you so much for watching What's Up in Makeup. I'm gonna scroll the names of the What's Up in Makeup hunters. Their names are right there. Thank you so much for all of your submissions this week and last week. I really appreciate you so much, and thank you so much for watching What's Up in Makeup. If you would like to hang out a little longer, if you'd like to watch that second part of this week's show, YouTube should be recommending a couple of videos for you right over here. I'm gonna put that second segment right there in case you want to check it out. But if you do need to go, maybe you'll watch it later. Thank you so much for hanging out as long as you did, and mad love to you, and I will see you in a video very, very soon. Bye!